What's happening is Silas back with another book review. This is book number 6 for the year. This is Marketing by Seth Godin. It's a book that I'd heard about for quite some time, and I wanted to read it to get some tips and feelers for ways personally for me to improve how I present myself and the things that I have to offer to the world. And so I took a chance at ordering the book, bought the book, came in, and I began reading it. And Seth Godin is my favorite author. I think he and Tim Ferriss are like neck and neck for me in terms of their writing. I love both of their writing styles, but Seth may be a bit higher on my list. And so everything that I've read of his has been impeccable, and this is not a difference in standard when it comes to that. So this is Marketing. It's another book that he's written that I love. This book off the top is a book about marketing, but at the same time, it is not a book that I would recommend you read if you're looking for catchy ways to do a better job if you're in the marketing space. This is actually a book for people who don't think they're in marketing. It's a book for people that may have a product or a service or mission that they're on, and they're looking to create change. And they may not be getting the change they want, or they may be growing impatient with achieving that change. But it's really a book for people that are looking to do something that's going to change their world and possibly the worlds of people around them. The book begins with talking a bit about what marketing is. And so marketing, essentially, according to the book, it seeks more market share, more customers, and more work. Marketing is driven by better, right? And so whenever someone is in the space where they want to market a product or a service or their mission, it's always, or it should always be, about making things better. Marketing changes or creates culture. Marketing itself is change. And it's also really about your most generous and insightful work. And that work is a work that needs help. It needs help with finding the people that it's meant to serve. And so the idea with the book is to have you think about how to design your work to spread it as it was intended to be spreaded. So in this book, there's like this, I don't want to say a paradox, but there are two sort of competing thoughts. One is about spreading the word, but the other is about really identifying the smallest viable market. Who are the people that make up the smallest viable market that you can really dig in and drill in on what it is you're trying to do to help change those people, but also understanding that the smallest viable market has to be a viable market that wants what you have to offer. So they have to want what you have to offer because it comes from you and because it's something that's worthwhile. The book also talks about why your current state of marketing is not working. Some of the reasons may be you're not busy enough. You're not working enough on spreading the idea. The community that is around you may not be what it could be. A part of the book, a part of its purpose is to inspire you to make people what they should be. And so your current community may not be activated or operating in its most intended purpose. And so a part of you marketing your product is marketing it with the idea in mind of telling a story about what could be for this particular community. Also the people around you they may not care right now about what it is that you think they should be caring about. And a part of your marketing ploy, so to speak, is to get them to care about it. And in some instances, the way in which you're doing the work may not be fulfilling. And so the way that the author suggests that you solve these issues is by, instead of complaining, he suggests that the best way to complain is to make things better. And sometimes you have to also make better things. He stated that making better things is the way to make things better. And then being transparent, sharing your path is a better way to describe what marketing really is. So you're taking the story, you're sharing the path, you're being transparent, you're making better things. And instead of complaining, your goal is to make those things better. One of the words that he continuously talks about in the book is tension. And for me, when I read the word tension the first time in the book, it kind of threw me back a bit, because if you're trying to market something to someone, to me, the last thing you want to do is create tension. But the way he describes tension, it gives you a better feel for what his intention was with using that word. And so in the book, creating tension is really about building curiosity and almost making a person question what they believe, because your product or your service presents them with a new idea, something that makes them go back and question everything they ever knew about that space. So basically, it's essentially, let's say in your mind, you're exposed to my product or my service, and then now that exposure makes you say, I can't believe that someone made something that fits me so perfectly. I've lived 30, 40, 50, 60 years of my life, and I've never seen a product or a service that fit me the way that this new product or service that I'm being exposed to is making me feel and fitting for me. It could be a statement of, I can't believe this is real. And it feels like it's so unreal that it's caused me to be intrigued, and I got to stay around and see more. So the way tension is described in this book is actually an incentive to act and learn, whereas conflict is an incentive to either engage in violence or threatening conversation, or it causes you to leave. The tension is really about building curiosity versus creating that conflict. And what the author really gets at is people pay more attention and they process better what you have to offer when there's that tension involved. And that's not, again, conflict or fear, because conflict and fear often debilitate you, whereas tension activates you to take action. There's an interesting story that Seth talks about in the book about a person who goes to a tool store to buy a tool, let's say a 1/4-inch drill bit. The person's not buying the 1/4-inch drill bit. They're actually buying the idea of the finished product, which is a 1/4-inch hole. And so when you're producing something or providing a service, that story kind of lays out the thought that you need to be thinking about what that service or product gives that person, that customer who's buying it from you. Buying a drill bit is not about buying a drill bit. It's about getting to the point of creating that 1/4-inch hole. And so he tells a bunch of stories like that that really reminds the person that's reading the book that you're creating a product for an end result, not for the sake of putting another product on the market. And how well can you create a better end result for the person that is actually buying into what you have to offer? As I talked about earlier, there's the smallest viable market. And one of the questions that he poses in the book is, if you had a chance to teach somebody something, what would they learn? And that's a bit different than if you had a chance to teach someone, what would you teach? I think a lot of us know what we would teach, but the question of what would the other person learn, it gives you a little more thought into what is it like to sit on the other side of the table? What is it like to sit opposite of yourself, based on what it is you think you are an expert in or what you think you make really well? If you were to put that product out there, what would people learn from it? What would be the experience? The people that you're looking to sell to, are they open to being taught? Are they open to being a customer of yours? And then also a recurring question in the book is, what will they tell others about your product? It's one thing to sell somebody something. It's one thing to provide a service to someone. But what is it that they will say to other people? And then what do you want them to say to other people? The one thing he also talks about in the book is, moving from absolute statements like this is better, like my product is totally better than everybody else's product. But it's more about having a personal statement, and saying that, hey, this product is a product I have, and it's better for someone like you. I think you would benefit more from this product. And so making that sort of personalized pitch is a way to really get to people in ways that oftentimes those of us who fail at marketing, we don't think that far into it. He talks about the Grateful Dead, a very popular music group that has barely any top 40 hits. But the people that like the Grateful Dead, they follow them no matter where they are in the world. And so a group that the average person walking the earth can't name any of their songs, they still sell the most records and they have the biggest following, all because they've tapped into the people that support them and they personalize the message to the people that support them. And that leads me to one of the themes that will come up in this book quite often. And it is this quote that he uses. It says, people like us do things like this. Again, people like us do things like this. And what he's getting at with that quote is that if you want to buy into this service, this product, if you want to respond to how I'm marketing this product or service, then I'm aiming it at you because you're the kind of person that I want to be able to actually consume what it is I'm serving to you. The idea of people like us do things like this means two things. One, people like us, we have a common bond, whatever it may be. These are the types of things that we do. And then also, people like us do things like this. This is the way we do those things. And so he gives a number of examples of groups of people who are grouped together based on a common thread, a common mantra they live by, a common way of life. It could be a person that's a part of a group that is really, really committed to running every day, people that run marathons, people that go to church 3 or 4 times a week, people that read books every day, people that like to hike and climb mountains, specialized groups of people where the group is formed around an activity or a way of life, and it truly becomes a lifestyle. And so again, that could be the market that you're, trying to target, that smallest viable market. And from there, you move from targeting that smallest viable market to actually going beyond that market and adding more people into that space. And so, as he wraps up that sort of section of the book, the one thing he reminds us of is that there's no such thing as one culture, right? There's this culture or that culture. And so there are a lot more subcultures than we give credit for. And when we think that we're moving culture, we're actually moving a specific group of people. And so the smallest viable market is a way for us to understand that even if you attract millions of people, there are billions of people in the world. And so the largest group of people that you could potentially attract, they still may not chart on the chart when it comes to the number of people that are in the world. People that own iPhones, people that wear Nikes, people that drink Starbucks. It may be millions of people, but then there are also millions, if not billions of people who've never had access to those products. And so if you have this idea that you're really shifting culture in general, it's probably a good time to take a cold shower and come back to earth and realize that you're impacting a particular subculture, but you're never at a point where you're able to shift the largest culture in the world, which is 7 billion people. One of the most interesting parts of the book is a chapter about status, dominance, and affiliation. And it's one of the most interesting chapters for me, I should say. There's a statement that he makes in this chapter that really stood out to me. And I feel like it's a statement that is a reflection of the times that we live in. He stated that when your hero moves up, so do you. And what that meant for me is that in this world of constant debate online, whether it's you arguing LeBron James or Kevin Durant, whether it's you arguing Ron DeSantis or Donald Trump, whether it's you arguing whatever two people are pitted against each other, whatever two political parties are pitted against each other, two or three religions, whatever it is, many of us have assigned ourselves heroes. And when that hero ascends in stature, so do we. And it's the same that can be said for the products that we support. Many of you who know me know that I wear Hoka. It's pretty much the only shoe that I wear at this point. And every time people have a conversation about shoes around me, they always bring up Hoka. And to some degree, if not a large degree, I'm affiliated with that brand, despite me never knowing or meeting anybody that works for the company. I just love that brand and I wear the shoes every day. And so now they're seeing this rise. And so there are a lot of people that are buying the shoes, and there are people that are reaching out to me saying, hey, I bought the shoe because I first was made aware of it because I saw you with them and I saw you talking about them. And so the book talks about what that affiliation does for individuals. And he has these quotes of, hey, look at how good my taste is, or look at how good I am at spotting ideas. And so as you begin to market the product or service that you have to offer, that goes back to what I said earlier. What will people say about your product to other people? What have you given them, or what have you equipped them with that allows them to be able to share their positive story about the things that you offer with respect to this product that you have? How will people feel when you make something remarkable? Do you have something that is remarkable? Is it something that you put out there that someone just has to go make remarks about? And so that status, dominance, and affiliation chapter was one that really stood out to me. Another chapter is where he talks about symbols and vernacular. And so there's a question of, what does this remind me of? And so while we want to be unique with what we offer, people are always processing things based on patterns. And so if you have something that you've presented to them, they have to at the least be able to make a comparison between what you are offering them and what they've been exposed to. And so, again, when you think about iconic brands, right? If you were to create a hotel, so to speak, you were to start a hotel, what would someone say about your hotel? Maybe they say this is the Apple store of hotels, right? Meaning that the customer service in this hotel is comparable to what I get from the Apple store. Or if you make a pizza, someone may say, hey, this is this is what Pizza Hut tasted like when it first came out. Or, if you're offering, if you start a church, so to speak, and you're a pastor, people may say, you know what, this is like the Cameron Indoor Stadium of churches, right? The same way people feel when they watch a Duke basketball game and the excitement in that arena. This is what the excitement feels like in this church. And so when it comes to symbols and marketing, we all think that what we're doing is original, but there always has to be some sort of connection that reminds people of something. And the key is, as he mentions in the book, do enough to get people to be reminded of something else, and then quickly shift to show them why your product is unique. So that's a very key thing. But the ultimate goal of the chapter is to remind you that these signals are signs that allow the customer to feel like they can already trust you. And then you make it unique enough and you change it enough to let them know that it's uniquely yours. There are a lot of things in this book that I could talk about, and I could go on and on and on. But the last two things I want to talk about, one is generosity, and the second thing is impact. One of the things that people do with marketing is they often start their trek into a business by giving away things for free. And one of the things that Seth Godin talks about in the book is generosity is not about giving away free stuff. If you continue to give away free things, it could leave you in an unsustained space. Generosity is not about how much you discount, but it's really about how much you care about changing people. And that might come at a cost of the customer, But if your heart is in the space of really providing a service or a product that is caring enough about changing people for the better, then the pricing will be at the appropriate space that you determine it needs to be at. And he also talks a bit about pricing in the book as well. In the book, he says that basically marketing changes your pricing, but pricing also changes your marketing. So there's a balance between marketing and pricing, but ultimately we shouldn't get caught up in thinking that generosity is about giving things away for free. And the last thing is that all of us are marketers. All of us are marketing something. All of us have an impact. All of us have a small, viable market that we can tap into. And the question becomes, what are you going to do with the impact? This book, again, is a lot about products and services, but as much as it is about products and services, it's also about making change. So any person that is really, really committed to making change, any person that finds themselves so perplexed, so uncomfortable, so disgruntled with the status quo that they are compelled to make a change, this is a book that I would highly recommend. So this is Marketing by Seth Godin. It's a relatively small book in size. It's a very easy read. Again, I think Seth is probably my favorite author at this point, and I highly recommend it, but specifically for people that are looking to make change and people that want to make change for the better, not for people that are just trying to do more of the same. That's okay, but this book is really for people that are not necessarily looking to be marketers, but people that are looking to make the change that they want to see. People that want to change their world first and then go out and person by person make an impact on other people. So thank you guys for watching this. As always, I really, really appreciate you all checking in. Like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to the page. I'll have more books to come in the near future. Until then, take care.